if the third shot is the most important shot in pickleball on the serve side, the return is the most important shot on the return side because it sets up the third. A hard, deep return is going to make the team hit a bad third. Don't change your height. You're changing your height by jumping. I want you to stay in an athletic position. So your first decision is drive. And then if you can't drive because the ball's lower, it's out of your strike zone, or it's not on your forehand and you don't have a two-handed backhand, then you drop. That yes, no is much easier than either or decision. All right, guys, welcome to our weekly Q&A where we provide live coaching based on your specific pickleball questions. Guys, as always, remember you can drop your questions in the chat. You can join us live as a guest or even bring your own match film for a frame-by-frame breakdown. If you are watching the replay and want to jump to a specific lesson, just check the timestamps in the YouTube description below to find the topics that matter most to your game. And to get coached up yourself, you don't have to just watch from the sidelines. Join the free membership at the Pickleball Lab to RSVP for our next session. We go live every single week to help you solve your errors and win more games, and I hope to see you there. And with that, let's go ahead and jump in. So our first guests today are Jessica and Elle. We're going to be going through some film today, and let's go ahead and get started. Jess or Elle, do one of you guys want to set this up for us and tell me what you guys are looking for?
I can go for it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so Jess and I, we've been doing pretty well with the tournaments, but one of the patterns we see is to go against the bangers.
Yeah.
And we have a little bit trouble. We tend to make more enforced errors as well. And this is one example we would like to get your critique on where we could do better, how can we handle them better. And personally, I also like to get tips on certain form or mechanics for my shots, whether there's anything you want me to correct on.
Okay, fantastic. Are you looking mostly for topspin, forehand? What are you looking for there on mechanics?
All the basic shots
Okay.
from the first four shots, and then also the dings and other stuff.
Okay.
But you mentioned top spins. I personally also would like to hear a little bit more on the returns, how to add more top spins in the mechanics.
Hey guys, just a reminder, if you'd like to be a part of this weekly live Q&A stream, chat, get coached up, and even have a chance to be a guest and get your film broken down, then make sure you join us over at the lab. We have a free option that you can sign up for that includes access to this weekly Q&A stream with other perks as well. Just go to pickleballlab.co/weeklyqa. Now, back to the stream. Yeah, the great thing about topspin, it's the same mechanic. For the most part, you do make adjustments based on like the ball you get. So like maybe a little bit of a swing height adjustment, a higher ball, you'll swing a little bit more on the really. I'm trying to figure this out for myself too, from like a pickleball perspective. If the ball's here, do you swing back on the same plane as the ball or a plane slightly underneath? But at any rate, that plane will change. But other than that, the mechanic is pretty much the same for the first four balls. So your serve is a drive, the same mechanic. Return, drive, same mechanic. Return's a lot more difficult because the most difficult ball for you to handle is going to be return because it's off a free shot, right? The serve is a free shot. So they get to hold the ball, and a ball that's not bouncing is a ball that they can really strike really well. So the return's a lot harder, but it's the same mechanic. Third shot drive, same mechanic as your serve. Okay. And then the fourth volley is basically a drive off the bounce or out of the air. So we can go through that. We'll look at your drop too, potentially. But if you notice a shot that you're like, hey, talk to me more about that mechanic, please bring it up. Otherwise, I'll look at your forehand topspin. The dink will be a little different, but not that much different. It's just pace on your paddle. You're just not going to hit as much pace, but the mechanic itself should be the same. So any questions on that before we get started?
Yeah, I guess I'm more specifically looking for my returns.
Okay.
As you pointed out, serves, I have more control or total control.
Yep.
Versus the returns, if the opponent made a really good serve, a lot of times either it was not landing where I anticipated, so I was not exactly at the right position, or there's a lot more top spins or back spins, or there's just different variety of the balls coming to me, which made it harder for me to hit it in with full swing.
Sure.
I personally tend to swing up towards the top of my head or even the right side of my head as a
Mhm.
right hand hitter instead of all the way to the left shoulder.
Yeah.
Know whether that's okay or
Yeah.
any. Yeah.
Yeah, great question. So the first time you see a return, if I don't pick it out, remind me and we'll talk through it. And the return is really, really important. If the third shot is the most important shot in pickleball on the serve side, the return is the most important shot on the return side because it sets up the third. A hard, deep return is going to give you a ton of benefits. Namely, it's going to make the team hit a bad third. They're so much further from their target, right? The second thing is, even if they do get if they hit a good ball, they have to get up in 2 balls now at least if your return is deep, right? And so that nullifies them getting up in 1. That means they have double the chance of making a mistake, right? Going from 1 shot to 2 shots. And then yeah, there's just a lot more on that. So we can definitely go through that. Anything else before we go forward? All right, cool. Let's do it. So let's watch your first rally here. Good. 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 Nice. That's actually a pretty good rally. Let's go back and watch that. Okay. If you have questions throughout, let me know, but I'll stop at certain junctures that I see. So this one right here, let's see. Yeah. Okay. So Jess, I want you to get up to the line a little quicker here, a little bit more efficient. That way L doesn't always, I still want L taking this ball. I always want the non-returner taking the ball if they possibly can. Both players have to move, but the returner has to potentially move vertically and laterally. Okay. So you definitely have to move vertically. You have to go from the back to the front, right? But you also might have to move side to side depending on where they hit the ball. The non-returner on the return side does not have to move vertically. They only have to move laterally. So they're just going to hit a better shot. Okay. However, if it's out of their reach, they have to let it go. L, one thing I want you to do here is I want you to already be on the side here. This is situational. This is a much higher level concept, but notice where your opponent is right there. She's here. It's not the girl in front of you, right? So this girl in front of you, she could take the ball down the line, right? So you would actually have to stay, here versus here, right? But since it's this other girl here, she can't go down the line on you, right? She can go down the line here, but not on your side. That means you can take up a lot more room, right? Like the ball is likely going in this direction, or sorry, not direction. It's likely going in this spot, which means you can move over a little bit and help. Okay. So you actually do that. You do a good job of that. There we go. So you do a good job of that, but it's you already need to be set there so that this little shuffle step that you take, which is really good, you slide right here. Okay. I actually want you to be on this line so that when you slide with your right foot about right here. Okay. If your right foot's here, you're not reaching for this ball and you're going to be able to pound this ball back. Okay. So just keep in mind positioning. If the ball is not straight ahead of you, you can cheat a little bit. And if they hit the ball behind you at some point, great. But and you tell them good job, that's fine. But if the ball's in front of you, you can't cheat like that. But you're in a good spot to cheat, and then you wouldn't have had to do that. Jess, you can help her out by getting to the line. So if there's a ball that she does have to reach for, you're already there to take it. So let's talk about your return real quick. So your return, all you do is pause. That's really your only issue here. You just hit, kind of watch it, and then run. Here's where I want you to start running, right here. I want you to be running. Now, eventually, we're going to evolve into hitting and running at the same time. Okay. But right now, I want you to hit, don't pause, just go. Hit and run. That way, you're closer to the line, and you gotta book it up there so that Elle can take any ball except one that's really wide on her, and you can hit that ball better. Okay. Any questions on that?
I have a question about where to return. So what we've been doing so that the other person knows where we're going is that we've been working on just returning up the line.
Yep.
Any suggestions on that?
No, because everything honestly has like a benefit. This is a higher level question. It's probably like a 5-5 question, 5-0 question. And honestly, I haven't really figured it out either. Because they all have so many advantages, and I don't see the disadvantage. The advantage here for you going down the line is that L can come over here and protect you. Okay. The advantage for you going across court here is that you have more time to get up to the line because you're hitting the ball diagonal, and the diagonal ball is just longer. So from you're 44 feet away, right? So that's going to add, I want to say like an extra 6-7 feet or something. That extra 6 or 7 feet, instead of going straight ahead of you, gives you more time to get up there. They also have to hit the ball. If they're going to hit you, they have to go diagonal at you. So that's going to give you an extra 2 or 3 feet to time to move and get to the kitchen line, right? But then that pins L. She has to stay there and she can't help you. Maybe you target the player that's weaker, right? Maybe you go to this girl's backhand so that she can't drive. That's actually an underrated thing that we don't talk about. But I really don't talk about it because if you're struggling with bangers, you probably can't position your return super well. But if you can, it's just a skill level thing. If you can, hit her backhand instead. That way she can't drive the ball at you. Or do you go middle and make them talk and communicate and make some mistakes? It's really up to you. Personally, I don't worry about it, and I just go down the line every single time, whether I'm unwinding the stack or not. So, you know what? If someone has like a better idea on where to go with the returns, definitely feel free to put it in the comments. And when I'm watching pro film, I watch pro film just about every night or every other night. I'll start watching for that. That's a really good question. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
go
we
ahead.
were doing it to make sure that the other knew where the ball was going, right? So then the pinching in the middle could be more of like, when you're up there protecting your partner.
Say that again.
The reason that we were looking to always go down the line or to have it established was so that the other person at the net knew, okay, we know where the return is going to go for the most part.
Yeah, I think even if you go like diagonal, you know where the return. I don't know that going down the line or going diagonal is going to change those options very much. If you, I guess if you're saying versus a middle ball, is that what you're saying? Where they can go straight left or right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's definitely an advantage of going down the line. Is that you've limited their options. You've limited their options more of a drive that they can hit really well. So that's another advantage potentially as well. Yeah. Anything else on that? Cool. All right. So drive. Also, I want you guys to get used to letting the ball go out. I'm gonna guess this one's in, but in a pro level match where they're hitting really hard, that ball's out. I would say if that ball goes 6 inches higher, it's out. So one really good way to also defeat bangers is just let the ball go out. And shrink that zone. There's a zone they can hit into, and bangers are really bad about this. They hit high balls all the time, but people let them off the hook because they hit out balls, right? So let me see what she does here. Good. So Jess, one thing here is when you see L hit that ball, I want you to realize because your opponents are so far back that you have time to move up and take the rest of that kitchen. Because the closer you are to the net, the less likely you are to hit the net. So when she hits this ball right here, I want you to be closer to the net so you can hit the ball harder because you're more likely to get the ball over the net, right? And then I want you to be closer to them so they have less time to react to your ball. I want you to like punish that ball and blow it past them. Does that make sense? Always on the kitchen line if you can. Now, if you watch the pros, the women, they stay off the line a little bit. But I think until a certain level, I would encourage the women's game, people that play the women's game, till a certain level, maybe 4-5 or 5-0. I would work on getting at the kitchen just as a principle and learning that principle because then you can learn when to back off. Good. Good little dink to the corner there. That was good. All right. Let's go back. Good. 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 Okay, that ball's out. So the rule shoulder high, let it fly. That rule, the only time it doesn't work is if the ball is extremely slow. That ball's definitely out. It's a very athletic move. We want to make sure that we let these out balls go. A good way to start letting out balls go is just visualization. You can practice it. Like you can have someone like hit a good ball and then an out ball, a good ball, an out ball. But honestly, visualization is going to make it happen a lot quicker. You just need to visualize anytime you raise your paddle up here. And I notice it now when I play, I'll hit this ball and then like maybe 2 or 3 more balls. And then I'll go back as I'm walking back to the baseline and be like, I think I hit a ball at my shoulder. So this should feel awkward. Hitting this ball, this ball, this ball, this ball, this ball should feel really awkward for you. And if you do visualization, as that ball's coming at your shoulder, you just letting the ball go, that ball start to get really awkward for you. It'll take a while to do it, but it will eventually start getting really awkward and you'll start letting out balls go a lot more because that point's over. Out balls are kind of a gift. Let's see here. Great get. Good. 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 Just the only reason this ball went in the net is you clipped it at the bottom there. So talking about form, I want you to get that paddle, if you notice, as I slow it down, never gets under the ball, right? So I want you to get under that ball at some point. So let me actually slow it down even more. So not down, not below, not below. It's got to be below, and it's really topspin, right? You're going to brush up on the ball. Let's see here. I'm actually going to leave the light off for right now. Looks pretty cool. All right. So any questions on that? All right, cool. Let's go to the next rally. All right. So here. Good, good. I'll go back to that return. Ooh, out. Way to let the ball go. All right, let's go back to this return. You wanted to work on your return here. I'll have to caveat this with, I need to see you hit a drive again. But a couple of things. Don't change your height. So you're changing your height by jumping, right? So you need to stay flat and in an athletic position. So I would say you're a little too tall here, and then you jump and get really tall. I want you to stay a little bit, not much. Probably your ready position right here is a great place to hit a drive from. So this bend right here, you can pop up to move if you need to, but when you hit, I want you back in that spot right there. So that's the first thing is positioning. Your footwork isn't too bad. It's one of the things I wouldn't worry too much about right now. We can there's things to add, but there's other things that are more of an issue. Let's see. Okay. So I don't want you to notice how you're hitting up here. So we want to, do you feel comfortable hitting topspin?
I'm comfortable hitting top spins. I think this particular one, from my memory by looking at this recording, I didn't have a lot of space behind anymore.
Oh
The
yeah.
ball, she actually hits much harder than most of other women
Right.
we have played recently. So it was also just started the point. I wasn't used to the pace, so it
Right.
traveled faster and further than I anticipated. So I was a little bit jammed there. I didn't have space to back up either.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that it is harder when pace is coming at you to hit topspin because you have to time the brush, right? So that does get a little bit more difficult. What I would do is I have you guys doing serve return drill right now, right? Or no?
Yes, you did.
Okay. So I would have Jessica, I would have you learning how to serve hard. And like you want to get it deep, but right now I want you to work on pace and just make that serve more of a weapon. The conversation that I'm having with Elle right now should be the conversation your opponents are having with other people. It's like, man, we were playing this girl, she was just slamming her serve, and I couldn't get a good return on it, so that you can get an easy third, right? So when you guys are practicing, now you can start practicing against someone who has a good serve. And Jesse, you're going to hit some bad ones, and Elle's going to be twiddling her thumbs for a while, but eventually you're going to figure it out, and you're really gonna help her out with her returns. Okay, so need some practice. Don't hit up, hit from the side. So actually, you need to hit up. Let me clarify. Don't hit with your paddle angle here. Okay, I don't mind your paddle angle being there, but eventually it's got to flatten out. Eventually it's got to go from this, then it gets here, then it gets here, then it gets here, right? The rotation. It starts down, but then you rotate, right? So there actually isn't rotation here. So let's back up real quick. It's just kind of hitting up like a drop, right? Actually, you get a little bit of rotation. I take that back. So you hit here, but it's a very, very common mistake. Your rotation starts after you've hit the ball. So here's your rotation. Now it's starting, but you've already hit the ball, right? So you're just going to have to work on timing your rotation. That's one thing. You actually do hit with topspin here, but the ball's gone and has no topspin because you rotate late, right? And that's a timing thing, which you mentioned. So I'd work on that. Did you have a question?
No, I think it was a timing thing. I was late. If I had anticipated better, I would have moved one small step to my left. I would be in a better position to hit this ball.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, you are jammed up here a little bit, for sure.
Right. Yeah. And another question, right? In reality, I think that's until I can build up better anticipation and move to a more ideal position. Until I reach that point in a more regular basis, I would hit in this situation. What would you recommend if I'm, for whatever reason, I'm not in the right position to hit this ball like this particular example?
That's a good question.
Is the form okay the way I hit it, or is there a better way to handle this situation? Because that's kind of norm in a sense, right? We can't be perfect. We're not pros yet.
Yeah, I as a coach, I would say the solution here, like if you're asking me for a solution, the solution here is to move. So I would be working on that. But with you saying like, what do I do if I do get jammed up? There's really not a good answer. Just get the ball over and just try and get it deep. And so you do a good job of like, all right, I'm jammed. Let me just try and get it up. And it's a little shallow. But I mean, the real answer is just anticipation. What would help with the anticipation? You need to watch two things really is height and speed. So just start watching height. If the ball's high, it's probably going to be a deep return or a deep serve. That one's like is relatively deep. It's in the back third, so like I consider that deep. But then like the ball crosses here. Okay, so actually, if it were me, I'm thinking that ball. Yeah. Let me back up. At the level you're at, I'm thinking this ball is going to be short. Okay, I'm thinking this ball is going to be deep, and I'm thinking this ball is going to be super short. Right. At a higher level, I'm thinking this ball's deep, this ball's out, and this ball is still short or middle. So what's the difference? It's speed, right? But right now, I would watch height and develop an understanding of height. As the ball meets the net, that's going to be short, middle, or long. And then as you develop that, because we can't really develop more than one thing at a time, as you develop that, the second thing I'm going to develop afterwards, after I'm getting comfortable with the height, is speed. So you got to watch their take back. You've got to watch how they hit the ball, and that's going to tell you. So that's the only difference between these right here, right? This one's deep, but for me, this one's out. That's because this one had a lot more pace, right? This one is what I say, middle, and this one's deep, pace, short and short, pace, short or medium. So I would just develop that now so that you can move and get in the right spot. And direction as well, but direction's a lot easier in my experience to figure out. It's height and speed that are the issues. And so that's what I would work on. And you can work on that when just is serving. In terms of your mechanic, I can go into that next, but do you have any other questions besides that?
No, I'm
Okay.
good for.
Yeah, so your mechanic, I don't mind you hitting up by your head, but you're probably in a traditional. So anytime we hit and then we hit on the same side as our body, that's all topspin. When we hit on the other side, but really far out, that's all power. Right here is in the middle, topspin and power. Okay. So you're trying to put a ton of topspin here, and it's not going to be a ton of pace. Okay. But excuse me, if you watch a lot of pros, they actually return on this side. Okay. From my best understanding at the moment, we're returning on this side when the ball's really low, and we have to get up and under that ball and get it over the net. Okay. If that ball is medium or high, and in tennis, if you notice, balls can be really high. So, like, people have to end up swinging here. We should never have to swing here on a pickleball. That's a ground stroke. Now, we'll swing here on a volley, but otherwise, we're way down here because the pickleball just doesn't bounce very high. So, if you're going to swing and end up here, it's probably a lower return. If you're having to swing, or if you're swinging anywhere at knee height, probably you'll end up finishing here. But there's a lot of pros that just finish here the whole time. So I would experiment and just see what works best for you. And the best return's a deep and hard return. When you serve here, or when you return here, rather, there's just not a lot of pace on the ball. So if you're getting it deep but no pace, you probably have to start returning here unless the ball is low. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions on that?
No.
All right. Perfect. Let's move on. All right. So we've got a drive. Really good. Way to get up there. Almost pretty much set. Good. A little pop up. Good. Okay. So this is what we're talking about. This is a really good spot if someone has a one-handed backhand. Is outside and up, because they end up hitting this. So they end up kind of popping the ball like you're doing. So what I would do, man, it's a good shot. I think that ball's actually going to be in. I would get set a lot earlier. So let's see how you make it to the line. A little bit of a slow start here. So we hit, jump. If you nix out the jump, that gives you more time to be moving forward, right? And then don't watch, just go. Bigger steps, probably. So if I could get you set by the time she's hitting the ball, okay? So if I get you set by the time she hits this ball right here, a little too fast. Right here, okay? So you're still moving up, right? But if I have you set, I think that you actually can get that ball back, because your swing is not as delayed. When you're moving, your swing is going to be delayed because your vision's delayed and it can't bring in the information, right? And then way to let this out ball go. So bang, bang, and then good. Any questions on that?
Yeah. It's just a follow-up question. I think this kind of sequence stuff, because the ball was driving further and faster than I anticipated, I was kind of caught a little bit jammed.
Yep.
You could comment. I think in general, when I was watching my returns, I'm pretty good at follow-up, run up. But because I was jammed, I had to fall back a little bit to accommodate. That prevented me to move right away. My question for, again, over here, because I was already late, do you recommend me to just settle split step before giving further away from the kitchen line, or I'm actually one foot was settled, but the other foot was not yet? What would you recommend?
From a performance perspective, you need to be set, but by the time she's hitting the ball, so I would stop. From a getting better perspective, I would just run to the net and realize I was late. I got to get better at being late. I guess you could do it the other way around. I guess you could actually stop when she hits the ball, and then after the play, notice how far away you were from the net and be like, that was a fail. Like, I've got to get up there. But yeah, I would probably be set. The problem with that is if you're good at hitting the ball on the run, then you're much closer to the net and you're good. But if you're not, then yeah, I would probably stay back. Either way, the ultimate outcome is neither of those work. You got to get to the line and be set on time. That's your ultimate goal. In the meantime, I honestly, actually, I take that back. I'd probably be set. And when she hits the ball, then notice how far away I was and be like, all right, I got to get up there. But if you do that, if you stay further back, that ball is going to be lower on you. than it would be at the kitchen line. So she might dip a ball down and you might pop one up. Whereas if you're at the kitchen, even though you're hitting the ball on the run, you're actually able, because you're much closer to the net, able to get the ball over. So neither are elegant solutions, but I would probably default to, I'm going to be set. I'm a split step so that I'm set by the time she strikes the ball, then learn from there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's a good question. All right. Any other questions?
No, we
Okay.
can move.
All right, good. Serve, return. Just as a little bit of a higher level example, but I want you to play more with your chest and shoulders aligned to the kitchen. I don't want you to be sideways so much. Yeah, I want you to play more aligned.
Are you talking about when I finish my serve?
I just noticed that a lot. No. When you finish your serve, that's totally fine to get some power on it. So you finish here, that's fine. I want you to twist back and have both feet at the same line and with your chest and your shoulders pointed at the net. So here you're still to the side a little bit. And then I've noticed on some other plays as well, you get to the side. So let's see here. There, that's better. So you're sideways here. So I want you to still, less movement or more efficient movement means less movement a lot of times. I don't want you to have to get turned around here. I want you to just play straight at the net, and I want you to just turn your head and watch her. Now, there's times not to watch your partner, and then times to watch them. This one, you're far enough away from the net that if they pound a ball back, you can whip your head around quick enough to see them pound the ball back. But yeah, I want you to, and so here, so there, it looked like you were sideways a little bit as well. Yeah, I just want you to play straight up. Does that make sense? This isn't something that I want you to actively work on. The stuff that I've given you is the stuff I want you to actively work on, but this is something that you will have to change at some point. So if I mention it now, you might change it on your own as you're playing. Great. All right, so let's actually play this out. Here we go. Good. All right. So talk to me about the lob here. Is this a lob or is this a third shot drop that just got a little high?
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's okay. That's okay.
I was debating. I probably was, being undecisive.
In between? Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally common. Okay. No worries.
What do you have a specific recommendation or just an experience? Because often it happens to me. I'm like last minute trying to decide what I want to do and changing my mind.
Yeah.
Half time it works, half time doesn't.
Yeah, I would say on a third shot, you only have two choices: drive or drop. I wouldn't lob on a third. I think people hit a good lob. First of all, a lot of times a lob's a bailout shot. Just from a performance perspective, you should never hit bailout shots. You should hit the technical shot that you should hit, regardless of the pressure. Pressure gets to us, and then we hit a bailout shot. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm saying a lot of people lob because they don't know what else to do. That's a tactical error. So I definitely wouldn't lob if I'm trying to bail myself out. On a third, I think people hit a lob sometimes. You don't really see it in the men's game as much because the men are going to back up and punish it. But it's hard. I've seen lobs be effective, but I also think people, when they hit a good lob, get recency bias and they hit 1 out of 10 lobs, and then the other 9 they forget about because they hit one really good one. So I think you need to be sober about how good you are at lobs. If you're really freaking good at them, feel free to hit them. If you're not, I would probably not do it, especially because a lot of times it's a bail. So on the third, I would hit a drive or a drop. That's the only choice. I would say right now, I'd watch the height of the return. Watching the height in general is just really good. It helps you know where the ball is going to be and anticipate. It's really ball recognition, right? Recognizing the ball so you can move your body and get the ball in your strike zone. That's like that's the most important thing in a swing, is getting the ball in your strike zone. If you can't get the ball in the strike zone, you have to change your mechanic, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a bad ball. So watching the height, if it bounces high-ish, probably thigh or higher, mid-thigh or higher, I'm going to drive that ball, as long as I'm in a good spot to drive it, right? If it's on my backhand and I don't have a two-handed backhand, I won't drive it. If I can't get into my strike zone, I'm not going to drive it. But if I can drive it, I will. And then if it's lower than that, then I'm just going to drop. I think that should be your decision tree. So your decision tree should really be, because like people go drive, drop, drive, drop, drive, drop. It should just be drive. Your first decision is drive. If you have a good drive, so your first decision is drive. And then if you can't drive because the ball's lower, it's out of your strike zone, or it's not on your forehand, and you don't have a two-handed backhand, then you drop. So I think that yes, no is much easier than either or decision. Does that make sense? Okay. So this ball, let's go back just as an example. That ball's definitely thigh high. Maybe a little above the knee. Let's not call it thigh. A little above the knee. Then I think I would have drove that. But again, you're out of your strike zone, right? Because it's a deeper return. It pushes you back. I would get better at ball recognition and feet movement, moving my body, and I would still drive that ball. I don't want to drop this ball probably, especially as I'm going backwards, because I think it's just going to end up being a high ball. But this ends up working out because it was high. It was higher than she expected, and she had to back up. Okay, I drive that ball too. That ball's high enough to drive. I wouldn't just keep driving. The point of driving is to get a ball to drop, but you're at the baseline here. And she gave you a ball right in your strike zone. So on your forehand and high enough. So I'd probably drive that one too. Let's see here. All right. So boom. Great drop. Great drop. Let's watch that drop again. It's a good drop. Great drop. Right in the kitchen. Great job. Great topspin. Did you hit that with topspin? Yeah. Great brush. Great brush on that ball. And what's interesting is this is how I'd hit my drop. I don't hit my drops and bring it over here because you don't need pace, right? Like you need some pace, but you don't need drive level pace, right? I would hit it right here. That gives you a ton of backspin and makes the ball slower, which is what you need for a drop. So when I told you you want to hit your return here sometimes and here, your drive, you're always here, almost always anyway. On this, you want to be here. On a drop. On a dink, which is basically a drop, it's just at the kitchen. People don't think about it like that, but it is. You're going to hit that exact same shot you hit. You're just going to not go down as far and not come up as far, right? And you're going to keep it on this side of the body. We don't dink and come over here. That's really complicated. That's just to set you up for later on when we talk about this more. So great job. She doesn't look to see where you're at, and you crash on her and you put it away. That was really good. The only other thing would be getting planted as she strikes. So being planted here, you're planted here, but luckily she hit the ball right at you. So just getting planted early. But again, if we're doing green, yellow, red, green is the stuff I want you to be working on. That's the drill schedule I've given you. Yellow is something for you to know that's coming on later. And then red is something that's a long time. Just wash it. I would call this a red for right now. It's not something I want you guys to actively work on, but it is something I noticed. Great put away. Great job. Right in the middle. Let's see that. Right in the middle. Great. Where they have to reach and they're very likely to pop the ball up or at least not hit a good shot. Any questions on that? Great job.
No.
Serve, return. Ooh, actually, I really like that. Okay. So 3 times to hit a one-handed backhand drive. Okay. 1 on a return. Otherwise, I tell everyone to drop. On a return, we are going to hit from baseline to baseline. So if it's on your backhand, you've got to hit a backhand drive. 2 on volleys. We don't drop volleys, right? Like we don't just kind of go, dee. We're gonna hit volleys hard, right? We're gonna drive that ball. A volley is a drive a lot of times, just a much smaller swing. Okay. Now the third one is if you catch them deep. I love this. This was your point to win here. Now, what I might do, because you guys are stacked, Jess, you need to get over to the right side a lot quicker, probably. Maybe just one more step. So I'd like to see you, if I drew just your legs here, I'd like to see you probably right here. Okay, so that like between you is the middle, right? Between your feet. Okay. That way Elle can take this ball and you don't have to hit your backhand here. If you have a good 2-handed backhand drive, which is not as difficult as people make it out to be, you really just need to know how to hit topspin. But if you don't have one, then Elle can come and take this ball and drive with her one hand with a lot more accuracy, right? That's a red. Not too concerned about that, but that's a red. Any questions on that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the return from the opponent is actually quite shallow, short. Do you still recommend either her or me drive that ball?
Well, it was short in terms of where it bounced, but it had enough pace to get up to just about a foot from the baseline. So don't know if I would call that short. But if you mean the height of the ball is a lot shorter. But I wouldn't drop this because there's an ocean over here for you to hit into. Okay. The ball being low is only a problem if the person's up here. Okay. If the person's up here, that ball doesn't have enough time to get up and to get down. Okay. But we don't need the ball to get up and get down in that orange right there. We need that ball to get up and get down out here. You have so much more space to be able to let that ball travel. Okay. So yeah, if you're going baseline to baseline, I would drive any ball that wasn't 6 inches above the net. It's a unique situation because she's so far back. And that's a red or a black. Like if we were going to go like a step above red, that's a black. But it's a good question. Yes, I would certainly drive this ball. There's never a time that I would drop if this person stays back here. I don't want to drop here. I want to drive not only because that distance that you have gives you so much more time to take the kitchen. If they don't return and run, that's why it's one of the deadly sins of pickleball. If you don't return and run, it's a free ride to the kitchen. The reason that's a problem is the team that transitions up to the kitchen the most is going to win the match 9 out of 10 times. Okay. So you can't give people those free points. Okay. You're going to get up here. Not only that, now she has to transition. Transition is really hard. Getting up to the kitchen, that's really hard. So anything you can do to pin her back here is what I would do. Any questions on that?
Yeah, just to second on yours, I also see even it's because of she's so much back.
Yeah.
We can hit a little bit higher further. I'll just give us a little bit more margin for errors too.
Yes. As long as this player right here is not going past, isn't too far. She's close. She's here. If she steps here, now you're looking at probably still having to hit a lower ball. But this is a red. If she steps here, all this space over here is available too. So there, you got options there. But yes, if she's going to stay put, which most players at this level are going to stay where they are, and they're not going to cross the tee here, then yeah, you can leave that ball a lot higher. Also, the higher you leave it, the softer you have to hit it, and the softer you have to hit it, the more time you have to actually get to the kitchen and take the kitchen and really be set by the time she hits the ball. But if you hit it slower, then she can handle your ball a lot easier too. So it's trade-offs. But at the very least, the number one thing to do is hit her back here. Don't drop. You see your serve because you're talking about technique or mechanics. That's actually really good. Yeah. Yeah. Extremely good takeback. That's actually a pro level like tennis takeback. So notice how you put the paddle. I'm actually having to work on this right now. You put the paddle to the edge right there or to the side. A lot of people face the paddle down or they'll come up instead of coming out. So notice how you're out there. That's really good. So we're here and we come out. That's good. And you have a really good, at least from pickleball, I need to look at tennis more. At this specifically, I've watched a lot of tennis stroke like film, but from a pickleball perspective, sometimes people kind of come back and then they come up and then come down. A lot of times what I'm seeing from pro pickleballers is they come out and stay level and then come down. They come out, stay level versus coming out and coming up and coming in. Right. And I'm still working out the differences between the two, but that's really good. If you could hit your drive like this, then I would say you have a really good drive. The only thing is you're finishing on this side. I want you to hit. I want you to finish here. In fact, if you watch Ben Johns, he finishes wrapped all the way around, like, or at least his paddle. His paddle's wrapped around the back of his head. I'm not saying be that extreme, but I do want you to hit with the paddle like this, facing the wall, right? That's
I'm working on it. Just
yeah.
during the tournaments, I'm afraid to
Oh
hit it
yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah, don't
pushed.
worry about that. Don't worry about that in tournaments. Just when you drill or rec play. Honestly, I've been harping on this for like the last 3 months. Getting really good at ground strokes is super important. Serves a ground stroke, returns a ground stroke, third shot drive, which is you have 2 options, drive or drop. Third shot drive, ground stroke. Fourth, a volley or off the bounce, in my opinion, still basically a ground stroke more or less. That mechanic is super, super important. And so probably the best 2, I would say 3 ways to get better at ground strokes is to either get a ball machine or a partner and just have it hit you ground stroke stationary. Okay, so you're more or less in one spot. Sure, sometimes you have to go get balls every once in a while, but like let's say your partner's here, you're here, and you're only hitting this side of the court, right? Then after that, I'd add in dynamic movement. So if you have a partner, maybe you guys, are moving here, then moving here. Maybe you open it up and you play singles if you can cover the court. Okay. Or just hit ground strokes. You don't have to play, but just hit ground strokes. And then the third is to actually play singles. You can play singles here, and just make sure, hey, we don't go back behind, or we don't go up past this line right here. We have to stay. And like you can put markers here, and if people don't hit within, this space here and this space back here, then you lose the point, right? So that you're consistently prioritizing getting the ball deep. But those are great ways to get really good at ground strokes. I wouldn't suggest that for you guys right now because I still want you working on your plan, but that might be coming up soon for you guys. But yeah, I would try in a tournament. Definitely try it in practice. So any rec games that you're playing, I'd probably go out and try and practice it first just to get a feel for it, because I think if you don't do that, you probably won't do it in rec games. You'll bail out because you're playing with someone you don't know, or the social pressures that come along with that. But yeah, definitely get that paddle on the other side for some more power. Good. Really nice. Okay. A couple of really good things here. Serve, good. Return. Okay, great. So great drop. Love it. Great topspin drop. There's some things you can fuss with here, but I've seen you hit this consistently enough that I'm not going to fuss with it. It'd be at the very bottom of my concern list for you, right? Like it's actually pretty good. The only thing I would say is not push the ball as much. But again, don't fix this right now. We're fixing other stuff. But just for other people watching it, pushing, okay? Great job here on the drop. Good job. This is a 5th shot drop. Not bad. A little softer there, Jess. That's just getting used to hitting the pickleball. Like that'll take a lot of time. Pros still do this stuff. So just getting that in. But then we get here. Great reset. Way to be soft with that ball. And then it backs her up. Good. Great dink. Really nice. Any questions on that rally?
I know you said it's minor. You're not going to fuss about it, but can you just clarify so I understand what you're saying there?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back. All right. So here. So notice you start here, which is good, and then you hit, and instead of just brushing up immediately, and so if I turn like this, instead of brushing up here and just kind of being here, you go out. I can't get it in frame. You go out with the ball, right? So
I push forward.
You push. Yeah, you push.
Yeah.
Yep. And so less push, more up.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. Does that clarify it for you?
Yes, I did.
Perfect. So this is like a perfect drop. That motion that you're already hitting with it, but that's a really good drop motion. It's really good. Good. Great drive. Okay. Great execution here. Excited to watch this one back. All right. I wouldn't even worry about that last ball. I'd be proud of all the balls I hit in between. That's the hard thing about pickleball. It's a zero-sum game. You can hit 8 perfect shots and then 1 bad one and you lose the point, and you'll forget about the 8 good ones you hit. Okay, fantastic. Why is this lady getting stuck? So you need to figure out why she's getting stuck and then keep exploiting it. Okay? And that needs to be your thing. That needs to be, hey, she's late all the time. Why is she late? Let's not let her up to the line. Let's figure it out. And then every time she's up to return, you guys need to be thinking she's going to be late. My third shot is already decided for me. It's a drive, no matter what. Okay. And so this is really good. Boom. Great shot here. Jess, you want me to look at your swing a little bit here?
Sure.
Okay. It's actually really good. I don't have a lot to say about it, honestly, at this point. The higher level you get, we can talk about more things. But it's really good topspin there.
Well, I was always so worried about the lady at the net because she was poaching.
Yeah, that was good. No, I mean your swing looks fine. You could do a little bit more of a take back here, but this is something I'd fuss with you about at like a 4-5, 5-0 level. Probably more 4-5-0. Because I mean, look, you finish on the correct side and you finish correctly. So if we're finishing down, right? So like we hit and then we finish like this can potentially be a problem. Some tennis players actually hit like this, but you finish up here, right? You just end up finishing here because there's a shorter shot. So I don't if you can consistently hit drives, and then look at the result of the drive. Drive's really good. It's a little high, but like that's actually a quality drive. Like that's a pretty quality drive. Let's not I was going to go into that, but let's not do that. This is a really quality drive there. Okay. Now, the one thing I do want you guys to work on here is whoever's not hitting the third, if this person is trapped back here, the person not hitting the third needs to crash immediately. Because unless you need to trust your partner that they're going to miss this person poaching and they're going to hit a drive and you guys are going to be able to take advantage of it. Oh yeah, because I mean, look what would have happened if you are basically right on this tee. Okay, this ball right here is your ball, and it's where would that ball go? It went right there. That's a put away for you, right? And so we're getting really specialized here. Honestly, this is a red as well, but it's worth you knowing. If someone gets pinned, it's a third shot drive. The person not driving is going. Okay. And if the person who hits the drive misses and this person poaches, it's part of it. It's never going to be perfect. But, 7 out of 10 times you're going to miss the poacher, or that poacher is going to get pulled wide and pop one up anyway, and you guys can finish. So I would definitely poach on that. Good. Yeah, man. They don't slow down. They just keep going. Good. Really awkward spot, Jess. It's just an awkward spot.
I debated about whether it was going out.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. This one is shoulder high, so it's going to go out, except it's just too slow. She just doesn't hit the ball hard enough. I mean, the ball can be as tall as a skyscraper, but if it's not hit hard enough, it's going to bounce in, right? And so I wouldn't worry about that right now. I'd worry about the height of the ball and then worry about pace later. Like, judge one thing. Like, that ball, if I was thinking that ball's out, I would have congratulated myself, to be completely honest. But, like, my mindset has really changed. The way I used to be, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, dude, how'd you not know that was going out? Now it's more about, okay, I was right about the shoulder. I'm not at that level yet to judge pace, but I judged the shoulder and I let the ball go. Yes, I didn't win a point, but I did something good. And that's how you have to talk to yourself. That ball is actually almost out. It's in the back third. So it was pretty close. But yeah. Okay. I think we can stop right there, guys. Do you have any questions about that?
Yeah, I think for just kind of follow up, this too, especially the girl on the right, she actually hates really good drives.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely hate some odd balls, no doubt about that. But a lot of her balls actually were going in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the tough part, is you're just anticipating it going in, right? Just have to get better at just shoulder high, let it fly, and then not giving her what she wants. So she's a righty. So, I mean, and then even like avoiding the one who hits the higher quality drives, like just hit the other, like return to the other person. And then just like avoid her, period. Like just completely ice her out. That just gets into like tournament strategy.
Yeah, we tried. I think the other lady actually was quite consistent too.
Oh, okay. So wasn't anyone you could choose on that. Fair enough. All right, guys. Any
At
other
least that's
questions?
how we felt.
What's that?
At least that's how we felt.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It kind of forced us. Well, we didn't really perform well at night because both of us were not night people.
Okay.
But even with that, I think in general, the bangers, they also added an element to forced us to have more unforced errors,
Yeah.
pop-ups.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the major thing we talked about is just practicing countering those fourths, right? You just got to counter hard. Just counter hard and put them in a really bad spot and get used to that. But there's other things you can do, just making sure, like I said, you let out balls go, maybe hit their backhand and just don't hit that person. But other than that, it's just really experience. Like, you guys just need experience playing them more. I think I've talked about this before. The mindset, if you see a banger and wreck, you need to be like, I want to play that person.
Yeah. I have one more hopefully quick
Yeah.
question. I know for the serves, you commented it's good to have that full swing. For deep returns, or whenever we hit a drive from the baseline, do you also recommend us to use the full swing? Or okay.
Yep. If you're ever baseline to baseline or baseline to kitchen line, you can use a full swing. The only reason you wouldn't want to ever use a full swing is you're just too close. And when you hit here with your paddle, you can't get back in paddle ready position. Otherwise, this swing is incredibly consistent and incredibly powerful. So if you could have that swing every single time, you would want it. When you're when you're kitchen line to kitchen line, you just can't get the paddle back in time. So you have to take shorter, and you can't take the paddle back either, right? Because it's too much time. So
yeah, the reason I'm asking for that, I don't know whether it's because the space restraint. Many times I felt my pedal actually was hitting the back wall or the back fence. I wonder whether I was swinging too backwards.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I would just be aware of that, and I would probably sneak up. So if you notice, a lot of times players will take their paddle and touch the back wall. They're touching it to give themselves space. And they understand I can't back they find the space, they set their feet, and they go, I can't back up beyond here. And so, yeah, you might have to take the ball at a suboptimal height, because the optimal height always for a drive is at the top of the bounce, right? The apex of the bounce. But when you're backed up in a tournament or anywhere you're playing, you're going to have to take it at a suboptimal height to still get a full swing in.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions?
No,
Awesome. All right. Great job, guys. And that's going to be it for today's Q&A. You guys were our only two guests for today, so we're going to stop right there. Really appreciate you guys joining. And as always, guys, if you want to jump on live, we would love to have you. We do this weekly. You can come in, ask questions, even give us film and be guests like Justin L. here. And we would love to have you as a guest on the weekly public Q&A stream. With that, hopefully we will see you next week, and happy pickleballing.